I'm drinking it now. Go ahead.
Basically, I'm just from New York City.
Okay, go ahead. This is a gentleman from New York City right here, and he wants to tell the story of what happened.
Actually, I don't want to tell the story about what happened because, I didn't really see anything.
Okay,
we just heard the shots, and basically that was it. I mean, I just think it's very sad to see a young, talented individual like Biggie Smalls die. I'm from New York City, and obviously most of the people on the West Coast love Biggie Smalls.
True.
And so it's really sad to see another young black man lose his life, senselessly. So I'm very hurt by it. This is one of the saddest moments of my life because this is a young man that I happen to love, happen to respect. So
millions too.
It was sad because I came out here on a joyous occasion from New York, and then to leave California on such a sour note. And so my sympathies goes out to his mother, to his family, to the Bad Boy family, and hopefully everybody will ever understand that this was a man who basically represented hip hop.
Yeah. How far away you were from the shooting?
Well,
how far away from you?
Actually, we were in the car, and as we were driving, we heard the shots, and basically everybody started running. So we really didn't see it.
Inside, or did they stay outside?
No, people were trying to run inside. People were trying to run away from the what was happening. So we didn't really see it.
How come there was all these people in the back, on the back street, because they had a detour, and on the back street there was everybody huddled back there with their cars. They were saying, they just shot Biggie, they just shot Biggie.
Well, to be honest with you, we didn't know actually who got shot. All we know is that someone got shot. It wasn't until early this morning that we found out it was.
Now, after he got shot, did he drive to Cedars-Sinai and try to get saved himself?
I don't know.
Because they had a picture of his car over by Cedars-Sinai.
Right, but I don't know exactly what happened or how we got there. I know he was in the Jeep. I don't know what color it was.
A big one, right? A big Suburban or Expedition?
I didn't actually see it.
Are you from New York?
Yeah, I'm from New York City.
You're the one.
What part of New York City are you from? The Bronx, Brooklyn?
No, I'm from Queens.
Queens? Queens, that's where LL Cool J comes from, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, as a West Coast representative, my name is Gabriel. My name is Gabriel. I call myself Wicked G, OG Spark One graffiti artist from Santa Monica, the beach. I've been here 26 years in Los Angeles, and I'd like to say that hip-hop is going way too far, okay? I'm all about UNITY, not DIE, all right? It's not about death today. It's about unity. I want everybody to hear this. This is ridiculous, okay? I was here 10 minutes after the shooting. I drove my white Jeep right there, right around, and I heard that Biggie got shot, but because I was white, they didn't want to talk to me, so they said, get the fuck out of here. They said, fuck you, so I drove away. This morning on the news, I heard Biggie got shot. I feel sorry for his family. I give my condolences. But all I have to say is, it's going too far, man. This goes out to DJ Theo and everybody at the beat. Peace and love. West Coast, East Coast, let's come together. You know what I'm saying? It's going way too far. West Coast and East Coast need to come together. It's all about America.
What's your name?
My name is Gabriel. I would like to leave my last name out of this. And I am a young Jewish American man.
Yes, Damion Davis.
And your name?
Marcus Graham.
Marcus?
Graham.
All right. So you're a fan of this music. Can you tell me what his music was all about?
Oh, man. It's basically about what happened. He's basically raps about death, but still he was a good person, you know what I mean? He basically rapped about everything that went on in life daily. And it's real bad to me that he died because he was a real smart rapper, you know what I mean? He said things that I like to hear, and, it's just kind of sad what happened. I hope it's not a retaliation, to me,
What kind of retaliation are you thinking?
East side, west side type of, rapping. We been feuding on the east side and west side, but it's been a lot of, getting back together, you know what I mean? And it just happens that he's from the east side and he's on the west side when this happens, but I don't think it's really nothing to do with that. I think it has to do with him and his personal something, I just hope it's not that type of, thought in other people's minds,
How about you?
I think it was bound to happen. He was talking a lot about Tupac and West Coast rappers, and Tupac got shot out there in the elevator or whatever, and I think it's bound to happen. It was his turn. He came out here. He was, talking too much on the radios, and he was everywhere. Everybody knew he was out here, him and Lil Cease or whatever. And, he just got caught slipping at the wrong time.
You think it's a clear-cut case of this rivalry?
Yeah, I think so. It might not have to do with Death Row and Bad Boy, but, it got to do with East Coast, West Coast for sure, yeah. So
So what's your opinion of that? Is that crazy?
It's, you know, it's their life, whatever. They, you know, they was millionaires. They had money, you know, and they was in the, you know, they was in the fame all the time. They was always in the light, you know, always on TV. So I think, you know, it was bound to happen. And live by the sword, die by the sword.
So you both listen to his stuff? And
Yeah.
A lot, yeah. You got nice music, like I said, and money is no need to really continue on with how your life used to be. And so now, I guess, it shows a lot of people that you don't carry your lifestyle on with you, that you
Why
learn.
did you come out here today?
Well, I came out because I'm a big fan of Biggie Smalls, and I feel really horrible that something this tragic had to happen to such a great
big star.
You know, I mean, we can't even have a good concert out here without people fighting and shooting each other. It's not even that, I mean, you know.
The whole East-West rap beef that's going on between, you know, the East and the West, it's ludicrous. I think it's ludicrous.
What makes you think this was an East-West thing?
Well, I don't necessarily think that it was an East-West thing, but you got to take into consideration the fact that Tupac was killed almost, not even 6 months ago? And a lot of people was faulting Notorious Biggs' his whole camp for bringing that about, but I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Can you explain that to me? I'm sorry, I don't know a whole lot about that, about the whole why they were blaming and what happened there.
Okay, about 3-4 years ago, apparently Tupac was shot in New York when he was recording Ready to Die. He was recording Ready to Die. He was shot, and apparently for some reason, I guess he feels that they were responsible for it. Largely in part because I think where he was shot at, he was shot in their offices, the office building, the lobby, and then supposedly he was supposed to meet Notorious around the corner to do some recordings in the studio. He took it to heart, especially because of a song that he made called Who Shot Ya? And, you know.
So you think that, and explain this to me, that people were thinking that maybe the Tupac thing had something to do with the East Side rappers?
Well, no, some people seriously believe, as well as Tupac believes, that there was a beef that existed between the two of them. And a lot of people believe because of that beef that existed between the two of them brought that shooting about. But there's a lot of other rumors here in Los Angeles that say that.
And it's sending a horrible message out. I mean, you know, we have all these youth, these teenagers and kids look up to these people. I mean, we can't even have a good, decent time out here without people shooting and fighting each other. It's horrible. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'm coming out of the club and I'm like, oh my God, they're shooting.
You were here?
Well, actually, I was coming here to the club, and they were like, and he told me this morning,
Biggest. You saw her?
Well, I didn't really see anything because I couldn't get in. There was so many people here. It was just like really packed. And I was wondering why is all this commotion out here, and I noticed that everyone was just like, and I didn't find out till this morning when you called that he's been dead.
What's your name?
My name is Toni Moses.
Toni Moses, and your name?
And my name is Millard.
What is it?
Millard Hill.
And will you spell your first name for me just in case?
Millard.
Alright, so you guys big fans.
Yeah.
Huge
fans.
I'm just a huge rap fan,
Biggie,
period.
I love
East
you.
and West. Exactly. Peace, Biggie. I love
Biggie,
you.
I love you, baby.
Tupac, you too. May both of you guys
yes.
rest in peace. Because
Two
that's
great
terrible.
rappers. Two huge
Gone.
rappers.
Big stars.
Gone
Nothing.
for
Senseless. No reason. No reason for it to happen.
My name is William.
Your last name, William?
It doesn't matter about my last name. I think it's unfortunate for any human being to be shot, period. It's unfortunate for the entertainment industry to lose a star, but maybe he was in the wrong place at the wrong time and said or did something. Like me, for instance, might have, aggravated somebody to cause this to happen to him.
Were you a fan of his music?
Not really. I'm a West Coast dubs,
Can you tell us about that whole thing? What's the difference, and is there a rivalry there, West Coast, East Coast?
I really can't say. It's like the Lakers and the Knicks. You know, you either like one or the other. And if you live on the west side, the left coast, you like West Coast style gangster rap. However, it's all good. It's just something that's fabricated to sell records and make money. But there's pride in your hometown and the side of the country where you live in, and that's what I think it's may or may not be about. You know.
Is there a difference between the rapping on the West Coast and the rap LA and the rapping in New York? He was from Brooklyn. Is there a difference between West Coast rap and East Coast?
I say it is, but well, let's say it like this. If you notice, you hardly ever hear any of the East Coast rappers' songs being played on the West Coast, or the artists that's known as being East Coast artists. If they're not superstars, huge in the industry, their music isn't, you know, played on this side of the country. And the difference between East and West is, I don't know, it's all good, because, you know.
Is there a rivalry between the two? Feuding or something?
I really can't say if there is or not, but, you know, it's, once again, I just want to say that, you know, you support your side of what city and state you're from, what country you're from, and that's it, really. It's, once again, I just want to say that it's unfortunate to, you know, the industry and black people as a whole to lose somebody like this, you know, and, you know, it's unfortunate.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, William.
First of all, when did you hear about it? And when you heard about it, what ran through your mind?
Well, I heard about it this morning through a friend, and when I heard about it, I was devastated, very devastated. I couldn't believe it. I still don't believe it.
Why? What's so shocking?
It's Biggie Smalls. It's just, I don't believe it. From Tupac death, now Biggie Smalls just don't match up.
Is there, as far as you guys are aware, a rivalry between West Coast and East Coast rappers?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be surprised if this is payback?
Payback.
Tell me a little bit about him and his contribution to the community.
Well, he came from a long way. He came from the streets. Now he's famous. He's a rapper now. He changed up a lot. So his life has changed, you know. And his life was in shambles before he even got killed. So now it's just unbelievable.
Is it shocking to you that, I mean, his big album was Ready to Die, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you find that ironic that was the name of his album and now he's...
Yeah, now he's dead. I still don't believe it. It's a shock.
You guys, was he big in the community? Did you see him walking around?
Everybody respect Big. Everybody like Big. Everybody like him. You know, his music is very extraordinary.
You're a fan?
Yeah, definitely.
What did he write about? What did he talk about? What?
Anything that happened in his life, what was going on in the streets. He kept it real, just like he said. He kept it real. You know, he kept everything real.
Let me talk to Ray. Stay there, Ray. Watch your right foot there, bro. There we go. You good? Can you believe it? He's not here.
Still don't believe it.
He was here yesterday. He's not here today.
Yeah, I still don't believe it. Shouldn't have happened that way.
What runs through your mind about why he's dead or how he died?
Industry problems, East Coast, West Coast thing, rivalry. You know what I'm saying? Between him and Tupac and the West Coast. Shouldn't be that way.
What kind of music contribution did he provide to Bedford-Stuyvesant? As a local guy, makes good.
Yeah, he talk about life on the streets, you know what I'm saying, how he came a long way from being a thug to being basically a gentleman, you know what I'm saying? Businessman. He's in the industry now, you know what I'm saying? He had an article in the Source talking about how he want people to look at him as a businessman. He's a father. You know what I'm saying?
Ready to Die was the name of his album.
Yeah.
Do you think that he was? Or did he have a long future ahead of him?
He had a long future ahead of him. He had every potential.
What happens from here?
What happens from here? I don't know. But I don't know what's going to happen in the industry.
Is there more danger to rap artists, both West Coast and East Coast, who should be looking over their shoulder?
They should look at this as a lesson, you know what I'm saying?
Second lesson.
No Mickey D.
Thanks, guy.
This is the door of my life.
Is he one of the more influential ones that you think? Did he go by Notorious or did he go by Biggie? Or both? Both. Well, on his album, Ready to Die, what was it?
Coming out.
Life After Death.
Life After Death.
This is spooky. So you only had two albums? That one, the first one?
The first one was Ready to Die.
Ready to Die. And the second one is Life After Death. You think sales of that are going to go through the roof?
He's hanging out in the car. Somebody opened fire and took off. The cops picked him up, rushed him to the hospital.
Was he by himself?
He was. I know those guys. I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
I
mean, someone, I don't know if he was playing himself all night because he got shot. No one else got hit. Talk about his experiences on the street. Okay. I know that he experienced drugs. Did he mention that in his songs as well?
Yeah, hustle.
Son and a daughter. But his neighborhood is down that way? What is it? Fulton?
St. James, Ukraine,
Are there some record stores right over?
You first heard about it from me, right? Surprise, shocking, what runs through your mind?
I don't know. I mean, shocking. I mean, if you went the news, I wouldn't believe.
The name of his first album was Give Me Death, I think it was, and the name of his new album is called Life After Death. Pretty ironic, huh?
Yeah.
You listen to his music?
Oh, yeah. I listen to some of his music.
What did he talk about? What kind of a message did he portray? I know that he came up on the street.
Yeah, well, I guess, like, from my own perspective, some of his message was how he was able to grow out of his the hard life of the ghetto and make it in the music industry as one of the biggest rappers around.
How ironic do you find it that he lived about talking on the street and now he literally died on the street?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's the reality of our society nowadays. I mean, you live in the street and you die in the street. So.
Okay. Thank you. Jimmy Charles?
Yeah, Jimmy Charles.
You live here?
Yeah.
Who's your friend? What's your name?
I'm Joel Pierre.
Joel, spell your last name, Joel. Pierre?
Pierre.
Pierre.
Yeah.
And you live here in Clinton Hill?
Yeah.
Your reaction when you heard, you're a newsman, and you probably heard sooner than other people.
I heard at the supermarket this morning, and I heard two guys talking about it. And I said, wow, is that true? And then I said, yeah, I got shot this morning. I said, man. And then I asked somebody else at the supermarket, and the guy said, yeah, he heard it on the radio.
You couldn't believe it?
I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm. Why not? I mean, here's a guy that you used to see walking the streets here?
Well, I see after Tupac, I said, damn, another one's gone again.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, niggas dropping like flies,
There's talk, there's speculation that Tupac West Coast, Notorious B.I.G. East Coast, that there's a rivalry, a feud between the two, and that this was payback for what happened to Tupac. Have you heard anything like that on the street?
Yeah, actually, I heard that from a couple girls. Young girls, they were talking about it, last night, actually. And then this morning they couldn't believe it.
Right.
And I was like,
okay.
Yeah, that's what might be happening, or something like that. But I never thought about it, that
it could happen.
That it could happen, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Joel Pierre?
Yeah.
Joel, pleasure meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Stay there. How long you been living in this section of Brooklyn?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half? And you work for the 18th?
Yeah, I work for the 18th. I'm a photo editor.
Oh, you really? Yeah. Oh, that's good. Keep you busy.
Yeah.
Artist? Spell it.
A-R-T-I-S.
A-R-T-I-S. Look at me, don't look at her. Where were you when you heard? And what ran through your mind when you heard?
I was in the house when I heard it. My brother called me, told me Big got killed. I ain't know what to say.
Did you believe it when you heard it?
I ain't even believe it.
What'd you tell your brother?
I couldn't believe it. I told him he was lying. I couldn't believe that.
Mm-hmm. I keep hearing the rumor that this is East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah.
Is there truth to that?
It is. It is.
It is?
It is. It only is supposed to be like this. Mm-hmm. It's just, everything just messed up.
Tell me about what kind of guy we're talking about.
Big? Yeah, he's a nice guy. He ain't nothing wrong. He ain't no criminal or nothing. He nice. Mm-hmm. He a nice guy.
Somebody told me his next album coming out is called
March
Life After Death.
Life After Death.
How ironic do you find that?
It's good. I heard the whole album already.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
Can you imagine that that's the name of his album and now he's dead?
Yeah.
What's your partner's name?
June Dog. Billy.
Joe Torres. What's your last name?
Brown.
Billy Brown. I saw you shaking your head. I mean, this upsets you.
It's ironic, man, because I mean, I came home this morning. A friend of mine called my house, you know, like 7, 8 o'clock. He told me Biggie just got killed, and you know, I couldn't believe it, you know, because Biggie, I mean, come on now, that's like Brooklyn finest, you know. I mean, Big is like Brooklyn. When you say Biggie Smalls, you're saying Brooklyn. So you know, when we hear from Brooklyn, and we like, you know, the representative of Brooklyn, he just gone just like that. I mean,
that's my next question. How painful is this to Brooklyn?
It's hurting right now, man. For real, it's really hurting. I mean, I can imagine how people from LA felt now, you know, when Tupac got murdered, you know, so, I mean, we still got a couple of, you know, Brooklyn representatives, but I mean, Big was like, you know, the ultimate Brooklyn, the whole borough, you know. Everything he did was for the borough of Brooklyn, and, you know, he even said it, everything, you know, so.
So this hurts.
Painful, man, for real, really painful.
Thanks, guys. Billy Brown?
Billy Brown.
Walk up to him and
We
say
were the
hi.
type to see in the street, we're like, yo, what up, Big, what's going on, you know, how's everything? We're like, yo,
Oh,
what up,
not
you know,
Big, Chris.
you know, come up to him like this, you know,
right,
giving everybody love and all that, you know.
He was fine with it.
He was good with it. He had to write about the streets. That's what you call it, keep it real, you know. Coming from the streets, you might as well write about the streets.
Have you heard about this East Coast, West Coast feud?
Yeah, man, it don't make no sense. But I think all that is just to sell records, you know. To sell records. You know, so from that, life after death was ready to die.
All right, yeah, you get chills just to think about that. Ready to die now. So he's 10-4, right? Married, kids, brothers?
Kids too. Yeah, 2 kids. Oh, that's good.
You live in Teaneck, you moved to Teaneck.
Right now, as I'm speaking to you, this is devastating.
Why so?
Because he spoke of the urban language, the urban, what happened here. You know, what happens here in our everyday. He told everybody exactly how it is and exactly how we feel from the heart.
He was Brooklyn, somebody said to me.
Brooklyn, no doubt. All hard Brooklyn. This is my hometown. This is where I was brought up and raised. This is who I am.
How painful for you to hear this then this morning?
Devastating.
Don't do that, guy. Thank you.
It's devastating. I mean, everybody here is Biggie. He tells everybody what they do, what to do to survive. Some people can't get a job, can't just get out there and do what they got to do. Biggie let people know, you got to do it this way, or no way at all.
How painful a loss then not to have his voice around here anymore.
That's just as painful as Tupac. I don't care if people hated him. I love Tupac too, just as a person. These were people, as you and I. Only we had different lives, different brought up, different things, different upbringings.
One guy told me that they feel the West Coast pain that much more now after experiencing the loss of.
See, I can't reflect on the West Coast's problems. That's a personal
thing. I kept
thing.
hearing West Coast, East Coast.
See, no, but I'm a East Coaster. Right. I've been born and raised in New York. I don't care what they did. We always talked about who we were as people. East Coast, West Coast, I don't care what it was. It was hitting the home. They told you what happened in your everyday. Waking up, getting yelled by your mother. You gotta get the hell up to go to all of those little idiosyncrasies that we grew up in our lives is who we made us as black people. And Notorious Big and Tupac and everybody of that aura took care of that. They let people know who we were as people and what we had to endure. No, I don't care if you East Coast, West Coast. I don't care. My heart goes out to the East Coast, to the West Coast. It goes out. It goes out.
Take a look. Hold on. How long you lived, born and raised here all your life?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not born and raised in Queens. I love Brooklyn. I'm born in Queens, but I love Brooklyn to my heart and soul.
People here say Biggie Smalls was not only a part of this community, but also a representative for the community, explaining through his words and music what life was all about here on the streets of Brooklyn.
Okay, I'm Lieutenant Ross Moen. I'm the commanding officer of Wilshire Detective Division. I want to thank you very much for being here because we are requesting your assistance, and we're requesting assistance from all the media, including the magazines, and I have to tell you that I've got numerous calls from Great Britain, New York, around the world with an interest in this case. Last Sunday morning at 0045 hours, just shortly after midnight, at the conclusion of a party at the Petersen Museum located on the southeast corner of Wilshire and Fairfax Avenue, after exiting the museum, an individual who everybody knows is Notorious Big, B.I.G., a notorious rap singer, was shot and killed after he had left the location. Up on the board behind me shows a diagram in which he was in the lead Suburban, followed by another Suburban with bodyguards. When the suspect vehicle, which is a dark, we believe, sedan, drove up along to the right side of the vehicle, fired numerous shots into the passenger door of the Suburban, hitting Mr. Big numerous times. He was transported in the Suburban to Cedars-Sinai Hospital, where he was pronounced dead, guilty of multiple gunshot wounds. Again, I have to tell you that the Los Angeles Police Department right now is currently involved in interviewing approximately 200 witnesses, a number of them from out of the city, several of them obviously from New York, who were part of the entourage with Mr. Big. We have some information that we're following up and some leads already that we hope to help us culminate and solve this investigation. But if, in the meantime, with this amount of press, we hope to have your viewers and your readers come forward with more information. We have a number of witnesses who fled the scene. I think that's the best word. They left without identifying themselves, and trying to put that group together is extremely difficult and tiring, and it would really help our investigators if they came forward. We are, at the meantime right now, hopefully with some of the witnesses, to being able to get a drawing of our suspect. When that happens, we will put that out on the press.
How good a description of the suspect do you have, sir?
We have a male black in his early 20s, and that's the description we have right now.
Senator, you're looking at this as payback for the Shakur. I mean, there's no secret they were bitter enemies. Is there any way that this could be some kind of payback or retaliation for what happened in Las Vegas?
The detective investigation is going directly in all kinds of directions, and we're not overlooking any possibility of a payback or a gang-related type shooting. We're not overlooking the fact that this was possibly a hit, a directed target, coming out of probably New York, could have come out of L.A., could have come out of Atlanta. We're looking at this in connection with a number of murders that have occurred around the country dealing with rap singers. Obviously, we had one as early as 2 years ago at the El Rey murder, or at the El Rey Theater following the Soul Music Awards. I do have to tell you there's 20 detectives who are working on this under the direction of Kelly Cooper, and we do feel that we will be able to, with this amount of effort put into it and the cooperation of your viewers, solve it.
Didn't the bodyguards see anything? Didn't the bodyguards that were with the notorious B.I.G., didn't they see anything?
We have interviewed several of them. We have gotten descriptions from them. Yes, they did see some of them. Quite frankly, when the shots started, ducked, did a normal reaction, and that's their statement, is that they did not see what happened at that time.
Isn't that the same thing that happened with the Tupac Shakur killing, where there were bodyguards on the scene, yet somehow they managed not to see anything?
The realization I think you have to believe is that when somebody's shooting at you, your first reaction is not to get a description of them, but to take cover, duck, close your eyes, get out of there, move, and that's what happened. It was a very fast sequence of events with a 9mm weapon, and that's all I can tell you about the weapon at this time.
More than one person in the car, you know?
Witnesses have said there were more than one person in the car, but we're focusing on the driver of the vehicle at this time.
In other words, the driver was the assailant, was the person?
We believe the driver was the assailant.
Lieutenant, witnesses, cooperative, uncooperative?
The witnesses we've interviewed have been cooperative. Those that haven't come forward or we haven't talked to yet, I can't tell you about. We hope they will be.
Sir, have you identified the other individuals who were in Mr. Big's vehicle with him at the time, as well as the bodyguard vehicle?
Not all of them. Not all of them. There are several individuals we believe were in the vehicle, and we don't have their identification yet.
Was Sean Puffy Combs one of the individuals?
He was in one of the vehicles, yes.
Was he with Mr. Big?
I don't think so.
Lieutenant, you mentioned other incidents in other cities. Can you specify what murders those rap-related murders those were? And we know about Vegas and Tupac, but you mentioned New York and Atlanta.
No, I can't. You'd have to refer to those cities and ask them what they have on it. As far as
when you said the hit may have come from New York, I mean, can you give us more detail? Why would New York be involved?
No, I said New York, Atlanta. We're not eliminating Las Vegas or any place. In our investigation, we're not restricting it to the city of Los Angeles for any reason, for any purpose, for motive or suspects.
Did he ask for any protection prior to that?
Are you connecting the other violent acts to this one?
We're looking at those as a possible connection. When we're talking about the other murders, we obviously cannot eliminate the fact that there's been a number of murders involving rap singers. Yes, we have to look at those, and yes, we think there may be a possibility, so therefore we're going to talk to the other detectives in the other cities.
That would suggest that there's some validity to reports that there is a rift between East and West Coast rappers when they say, no, that isn't the case.
I would believe there's always a possibility when you have a highly competitive, lucrative business as the rap groups that there, anything that I have read or heard as far as a rift, I have no personal knowledge of. It's what, like you, I've read in the paper that said perhaps there was a difference between the distribution company out of East Coast versus West Coast.
Is that the most likely scenario at this point that investigators are focusing on? Is that it was related to something like that?
We're not really focusing on any one specific aspect. We're looking at witnesses who can give us an identification. We're talking to people who hopefully can tell us who's involved in this murder. We're not overlooking the fact of whether it was a rival rap group or whatever, or narcotics-related, gang-related. We're looking at all those aspects.
Because this involves many cities, do you think there's going to be a federal government or federal investigation on the rap music industry that you might be involved with as well?
No, I'm strictly involved in solving this murder right now, and as far as any supposition, as far as a national or federal task force doing any investigation, again, I'd refer you to the federal side.
Well, have you been in contact with police departments in other cities?
Have been in contact with federal agencies, other task force, and other departments, yes.
Federal agencies?
Back to cooperation. Would you say
Out of the Justice Department.
the people in all the vehicles that you've interviewed, are they cooperative? Would you characterize them as being cooperative witnesses, or are people just stonewalling and not talking? Anybody that was in the car that may have been directly involved in the shooting itself?
The degree of cooperation varies, but we would have to say generally cooperative.
Lieutenant, could you explain how many people were in the cars again?
Since I don't know, it would be difficult. We feel there was probably 5 people in each of the 2 Suburbans. We don't know that for a fact yet. In each of the 2 vehicles that you see depicted up there, which is the 2 Suburban vehicles that had left, followed by a black Blazer.
So there could have been 4 other people in the Suburban with Big?
Yes. And 5 in the Suburban in front of him, and 4 or 5 in the Blazer behind him.
Was anybody else hit?
No, not to our knowledge.
Do you have any information as to whether he was lying in wait or attended the party where this vehicle came from?
I would think the indications were that if he was the intended target and he was hit, that someone had to be laying in wait for him to come out, to answer your question.
He was at the party?
Could have been. Whether I think so or not, I don't have a thought on that. I can answer your question. Could the shooter have been at the party earlier? Possibly. I don't know.
Sir, can you show us on those vehicles you've drawn on your diagram, point to which one is which vehicle?
Yes, I will. Be glad to.
Can you give us some sort of a perspective on who these witnesses are? There was an industry party, or a number of them in the industry, are they from out of town?
There are a number of them that are in the industry, yes. There were what you would call the entourage, which is not necessarily in the industry, but they go along with the group, and there are rap lovers, people who are there as fans. And it was a celebration of the Soul Music Awards that occurred on Friday night, and they've been in town for approximately 3 weeks with the entourage, so that's, I believe, just a culmination party on Saturday night at the Petersen Museum.
Have you contacted Vibe magazine for a guest list, since there is the possibility that the shooter may have come from inside, or at least knew of his presence there? Have you contacted the people who threw the party for a guest list, considering the possibility that the shooter may have come from inside, or at least knew that Biggie Smalls was going to be there?
We have done a number of things along that line to locate witnesses who may have seen the shooting.
Are you doing anything to prevent any possible further violence that might be an outgrowth of this incident, either in, West Coast-based rap groups or among the gangs here?
I believe the best thing we can do as far as preventing any further violence or any paybacks on this is solving this murder as quickly as possible.
Lieutenant, have you warned anybody? Have you warned anybody?
No.
Was the victim's window open or closed when he was shot?
I don't know. I asked that question, and I wasn't at the hospital to see if the vehicle had glass in it or not.
Sir, did the gunman...
There was a glass in the window. Was it open? To answer your question, the window was apparently closed when they fired into the vehicle.
Did the gunman
But
say anything at all before firing the shots?
We have no witnesses that said anything was said before the shots being fired.
Did the fire department shut down the party early due to overcrowding?
Yes.
But did any of the people you talked to in Mr. Big's car indicate that he had received threats or anything like that prior to this weekend?
I don't have any specific information on any threats to Mr. Big. I would have to believe, as visible and notorious he was, there is a very strong possibility that he may or may not have. I mean, it's a very vague answer because I don't have any information to that for you.
Any clothing description on the suspect from eyewitness accounts?
No.
Can you tell us exactly how many witnesses have been interviewed today?
No, I can't. I cannot because, like I said, we have 20 investigators assigned to this out of Wilshire detectives, plus 2 detectives out of our criminal apprehension section downtown, and interviews are going on right now. I would estimate we have another 150 witnesses to interview.
So we've done about 50. Would that be about right?
I'm not sure.
Lieutenant, a lot of us covering this story don't know a whole lot about rap and have had to do some quick research over the last couple of hours. What about your investigators? I mean, have they got a brief, quick history on rap and the interconnectedness?
You actually have an advantage over myself as far as if you've done 3 hours of research on the history of rap in the United States. I have been briefed on the history of the rap violence that has occurred in the last several years in the different groups and their involvement. As far as the history of the rap music industry itself, no, but as far as the criminal aspects of it, yes, we have.
Lieutenant, it's been 6 months now since Tupac Shakur was killed, and I'd like to find out, are you reasonably confident with the information and the suspect that you have now to think that you will come up with something strong as far as evidence within the next bunch of days, or does it look like this is one of these investigations that can really drag on?
No, I'm very confident that we're going to solve this murder.
Has Faith Evans given a statement on Mr. Big's ex-wife or estranged wife, mother of his child? Has she spoken to police yet?
We talked to her, at the hospital, and she was at the hospital.
Was she able to provide?
No comment on any comment that she made. You may talk to her if possible, but no comment no comment on anybody's statements as far as any of our interviews at this time.
Can you say if she was in the vehicle with him? Or in his entourage vehicles?
I don't know.
The view to the detectives that this was a hitman based on his skills at firing from the...
It would be extremely difficult for me to give a profile on the shooter as far as his expertise or history of being a hitman. No, I have no knowledge of that. Realizing what had happened, the close range, close proximity, I don't think it necessarily took an expert to do what he did.
How many shots were fired?
I didn't say numerous shots. Those that have the videotape of the vehicle can see that there was numerous shots fired into the passenger door.
How many times? The vehicle's moving?
I didn't say.
The vehicle's moving?
The vehicle was stopped at the time.
It was in the middle of the street?
Yes.
Because of a light or...
What I can depict for you up on the drawing, as you see, what's on the left, which would be lane N2, northbound lane on Fairfax Boulevard, is a Suburban followed by a second Suburban that pulled out of the Petersen Museum parking lot with our victim, Mr. Big, in the second vehicle. When another vehicle, and this is the dark vehicle containing the suspect, pulled up along the right side, and we believe from our witnesses' statements, the driver fired from that vehicle numerous shots into the driver's door of the second Suburban. I can point it out to you so it'll look a little clearer, but basically, here's the Petersen Museum. For your clarification, this is Wilshire Boulevard running east-west, Fairfax Boulevard running north-south. Here's the north. Coming out of the Petersen building was the first Suburban, and then we had the second Suburban, which Mr. Big was in, and the suspect vehicle pulled up alongside. First vehicle or second vehicle, right?
Second vehicle.
But I have to tell you, the vehicles were stopped here at the red light.
So he was a passenger then? He couldn't have been driving?
He was the driver. Now, Mr. Big is sitting here, right? In the right front passenger seat of the Suburban. The other vehicle pulls up alongside. Excuse my graphic artist here, please. And the driver shoots numerous times into the vehicle.
Were any shots fired out of Big's car?
We have no evidence that there was any shots fired by anybody else other than the suspect at any time.
Was this entourage armed? Anyone in this entourage armed that you know of?
We believe they may have been armed. We don't know that.
How many shots did Biggie sustain?
I didn't say numerous shots. An autopsy was performed this morning at the LA coroner's office, and cause of death is multiple gunshot wounds to the upper body.
Was there a weapon found?
No weapon found.
But you believe that it all came from the same weapon?
Yes, we do.
Does the name Jake Wallace play into this at all, in case out of Atlanta?
No. Name doesn't mean anything to me. It may be, and when we finish our investigation, it may mean everything, but I have no knowledge of that at this time.
Did the vehicle with the shooter in it, did it also come out of the parking lot, or did it come up the block from,
We don't know.
you don't know?
We don't know.
Lieutenant, one other thing that was unclear, or maybe I dismissed it, was there a light there? What would have been the reason for his car to have been stopped?
There was a signal light at that intersection, and he was stopped for the red light.
Do you want me to give chase to him, the suspect, or?
One of the security vehicles gave chase as the suspect vehicle proceeded eastbound on Wilshire Boulevard, went a couple of blocks and never saw the vehicle again.
He never got the license plate number of that vehicle?
No.
What was the security company that was providing the security for that party?
I don't have the name of the company.
But it's one of their people that tried to make chase?
One of the security people that they had hired that made chase.
So it was that particular van right there that made chase?
No, it was the Blazer that was following behind the two Suburbans. There was a third security vehicle that was behind the two Suburbans.
Oh, a private security that was for Mr. Big himself, or?
Yes. The question was there another vehicle involved? And there was. That was a third security vehicle, which is a Blazer that was following the two Suburbans. That vehicle took chase of the suspect vehicle, never saw it. After the suspect vehicle made a right turn eastbound on Wilshire.
It was a Mr. Big security, not the museums or parties.
Mr. Big security.
Do you know what location?
Part of his entourage is what how it's been explained.
Do you know what location the entourage was headed to from the party?
No, I do not.
Do you have any more details about the vehicle that the shooter was in? Was it a sedan or a SUV? Was it?
I do not. We've had various descriptions. We know that it was a dark vehicle, and we believe it was a sedan.
With the number of officers assigned to this case, the nature of the case being high profile, would you say that this is your top priority right now as an investigation?
Right now, in Wilshire Detectives, it's a top priority from the standpoint of you have 200 witnesses that you have to interview, that you need to put a lot of people and a lot of resources into it immediately to interview those witnesses. And with the high profile, with the number or the extreme interest that we're getting from around the world in this investigation.
Sean Puppy Combs back in New York, or do you know if he's still here in LA? Puppy Combs.
I don't know where he is at this time.
Was there any indications of any altercations inside the party prior to the shooting?
No.
Have there been any retaliation?
The questions when you heard me say no, the question was asked if there was any indications of any type of altercations inside Petersen Museum prior to the shooting. We have no knowledge of any.
Have there been any retaliatory shootings as there were in after the Tupac incident? Have there been any shootings on the streets of Compton or anywhere else related to the shooting of Big?
We have no knowledge of any other shootings relating indirectly or directly to this shooting anywhere in the city or anywhere outside the city for that matter.
What about this Don Harrell shooting his gun? What was that about?
That was unrelated to our knowledge. We believe it was an unrelated incident occurring with an individual who had a gun, who after the party was being broke up, fired his weapon several times into the air, not at anyone directly, and was subsequently arrested.